is almost $3 billion.
And
Yeah, the idea was that
we are all going to use collective intelligence and pull this money
pull
together and fund a bunch of cool things on Ethereum. It's going to be epic. And
it kind of
blew in our faces.
And
for a while there were not really many new DAOs. People were disappointed, scared, or whatever. And now it's 4 years later. And we have 4 DAO frameworks allowing us to easily start our own DAOs. Previously, the original DAO wasn't so easy to build as it is today to build DAOs. So that's something. And the idea is to finally have a hackathon that's focused exclusively on DAOs, tools for decentralized coordination. And we won't just be hacking on DAO tools, but we also want to be hacking on some educational content and promoting the use of tools for decentralized coordination. So there will be a bunch of workshops and talks going into anything from what are DAOs, what kind of DAOs there are, what kind of frameworks there are, tools there are. There will be product and DAO design workshops. There will be token engineering workshops. Community building, basically anything you might need when considering launching a DAO. So if you're considering launching a DAO, we hope that by the end of this hackathon you will be able to do so. And that's one of the big goals of this hackathon, to try to have as many people as possible to launch their own DAOs, but also while we're at it, all this content will be recorded and available for the long run for the people that will want to launch a DAO after the hackathon and whatever. So hope that makes sense. We got a bunch of bounties. Bounties on education. No, I can't really share the screen. Yeah. I'm actually doing this. I'm streaming over my computer and joining on my phone because this. No, I don't want to explain this. It's a nightmare trying to set this up. But we got a bunch of bounties on education, on design, on some Moloch hacks, on doing the best onboarding experience. Does everybody have this? Post the link to this. Yeah, we got some new bounties. Awesome onboarding bounties, bot onboarding, human onboarding, capital onboarding. We got Gnosis conditional token framework bounty for $3,000. And we got the My Meta open raid, which I believe is the first time that somebody's trying this. So it's not a bounty, it's an open raid, which means anybody can join, and it means there won't be a winner, but instead anybody who joins and does something good, everybody will be rewarded. Yeah. And we got a bunch of prizes for whoever builds anything cool, other than on My Meta, we got prizes like most useful project long term, most innovative hack, most creative hack, best new DAO interoperability hack, biggest vulnerability discovered. And we got a few surprise prizes, which I guess we'll tell you more about in the coming days. So we just need to be around, be useful, be cool, be awesome, and do cool shit. And that's about it from me. Do we have any questions? No questions. Is everything that clear?
One thing I will add to the bounties, which is not an official bounty, but large frameworks like Aragon and I think Colony and DAO Stack 2 have bug bounties as well. So if you really want to take the DAO Hack Month meme to the next level, you can try to find a bug in those frameworks as well. And they have bug bounties for that too.
All right. They have their own bounties for discovering vulnerabilities.
Yeah, and those are on 24/7 all the time, but it's DAO Hack Month, so yeah.
Okay. Yeah, we'll add it to the prizes.
Are we going to make a bunch of hackathon channels here on Discord like they did at the DAO Hack Month Discord?
You mean for specific bounties teams?
Yeah, for teams.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, you should make your own channel. So just go ahead and spin up a channel underneath the squad section.
Whoa, there's a lot of people here. Yeah, I felt better when I didn't know that. For my anxiety purposes. Right. Do we have any more questions?
Well, I will say, if anyone does have questions, just drop them into the general chat or Hacker Help or any of those types of channels, and we'll do our best to answer questions as soon as possible all the time. So if there's something that comes up that you think of, just drop them in there, and we'll do our best to help out.
Right.
This is also a good place for people if they're looking for teammates or they have ideas and they want to share them. You feel free to go ahead and share your idea or what kind of skill set you're looking for to help complete your team.
You cut out there. Or was it just me?
Sorry. Can you hear me? Can everyone hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Loud and clear.
You were saying?
I was saying if people have teams they're trying to form right now and they're looking for specific hackers or skill sets, or vice versa, if there's individual hackers who are looking to join a team, this is a good place to share your idea or to share your skill set and what you're looking for, so you can talk to people like live and form a team like right here.
Awesome. Thank you. All right. Well, if
there's also the forming a team channel as well, if you want to do that async, or looking for a team.
I'm not sure if my audio works. Can people hear me?
Yeah.
Cool. Hey, I was curious, is there some like central repository of what teams are working on, who they are, anything like that, or is the best way just to kind of click through the different channels on Discord?
I will make a map of everything that's going on, but right now there's like one team, I guess, since it's the only raid that's currently active in my meta. But yeah, there will be raid-specific channels as well.
And a lot of the projects from the Hack for Freedom part of the DAO Hack Month are continuing their hacking through to the end of the month. So, like, I know Crypto Comics is, and I think a bunch of others. So, yeah.
Okay, but is there any, like, Google Doc or Notion Doc that says, like, these are the teams, this is what they're looking for, this is what they're working on, or you just kind of click through? I mean, because I'm seeing a ton of channels on here. I've just jumped on. You know, what's, for me, somebody who's just joined, like, what's the best way of seeing what's going on, how I can help, what people are looking for, things like that?
The quickest thing right now, I think, would be to drop into the Looking for Team channel, and there everyone looking for a team will have posted what they're doing and what they're looking for. And so you can kind of scroll through there and see the latest and greatest on that. And yeah, also from there, just going through the channels, and eventually there may or may not be a doc tag thing that outlines all that stuff. But right now, I would say start with the Looking for a Team channel.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, cool. Yeah, because all of these teams that are already here are the teams that existed from before. So we don't really have new teams right now. I mean, we're just starting right now. And these squads yellow, are they here all from the first half of the hackathon, or are some of them way back since the Dragon Quest?
No, Dragon Quests are all archived down at the bottom underneath archive squads. You probably can't see it.
Got it. Yeah. Right, so all these squads are just from the Hack for Freedom.
Yeah, exactly.
That's dope. That's cool. All right. Well, if there are no more questions and comments, we can continue with the program. Which is Barada next up, talking about why DAOs are awesome.
Right.
Take it away.
Okay, so DAOs, I think we all generally probably think they're pretty cool, because that's why we're here. But yeah, I think like the real question is like, why are DAOs so great, and what do they enable that was not possible before? Because if you think about it, humans have been making agreements since the dawn of time, right? Whenever you want to do something that involves more than one person, you have to somehow create some sort of agreement to do a thing. And when you have more than two people, then all of a sudden you have an organization, right? People are getting together in a group to do a thing. And this is what allowed weak little feeble humans like us to overpower large, scary animals in the wild, because we could work together and use our brains to form plans and do stuff, right? So it's kind of like humanity's killer app is that we can coordinate. It's pretty cool. So over time we figured out kind of like, more ways to structure that coordination. We had like tribal markings, we had like, oral agreements, then we started to write some of this stuff down, we developed language, that was cool. Then we started to develop like more formalized systems of governance, where we wrote down lots and lots of stuff, and that created kind of these quote-unquote like legal systems that evolved throughout the world. And that was all great and stuff, right? So like we put together a lot of these things that help us coordinate. But the thing was that what happens if we agree on a thing and that thing doesn't actually happen? Well, what do you do? Well, you can get some sticks and you can hit each other with them. You can go to court and you can complain about it, and someone else can hit you with a stick, or they can tax you or put you in jail or whatever, right? And that's kind of the process. That's how it's been for most of the time. Is that humans agree to some stuff, and then they say, if the thing doesn't happen, there's going to be consequences. And then they enforce those consequences via real-world physical force. And so that's been okay, right? Like, sometimes it works out, sometimes, yeah. But we have this cool new thing called a blockchain, which allows us to have this distributed ledger of information that anyone can create, verify, and enforce via cryptographic code. And this is kind of cool. So instead of having a bunch of papers and saying, okay, well, the paper says this, and if you don't do it, then I'm going to have these people go do that other thing that'll enforce a consequence for a thing. You can just say, hey, here's the contract that says this is how stuff works. I can create that contract. You can verify that that contract is what I say it is, and the blockchain can verify that it will run the way it says it will run. And then that contract itself will actually execute and enforce itself. So traditionally, we've had to write legal agreements, and then we have a separate set of organizations that enforce those agreements. And now, with blockchains, we can create and enforce contracts all within the same framework. The contract enforces itself. It's kind of cool. And so then we got some of these contracts together and realized we could create organizations. So you can actually have a contract that says, here are the people who have, rights and roles and responsibilities in this system, and they can vote to make decisions happen, and that can control some funds. And those contracts can be written down, and they can execute according to the rules of the contracts verified by the blockchain. And this isn't that much different from creating like an LLC and putting together an operating agreement. A lot of the stuff is actually very similar. But what's game-changing is that they're not enforced by physical jurisdiction. They're enforced by the contract itself and the blockchain that it runs on. So that allows anyone anywhere to permissionlessly create an organization and coordinate together around some common goals to do cool stuff, which is pretty awesome. So here, we have tons of people working on tons of cool DAOs. We have people from all over the world. We're working on things from dev shops to comic book cooperatives to massive online multiplayer games, composable community currencies, all these types of things. And that's kind of amazing, right? Like, we couldn't really do any of this if we were just shuffling around papers, right? We'd only be able to do this with people who were kind of near us, either in our local jurisdiction or playing by the same kind of legal rules, so that then if we form these contracts, they could be enforced. So DAOs give us the ability to scale that out, right? So anyone anywhere can coordinate, cooperate, and that's pretty great. But what actually takes us to the next level, I think, is that you can engage and coordinate on a global level, but act on a local level. Meaning, you can get together and have an organization that is locally enforced. It has its own local community currency. It has its own local set of rules. It has its own kind of culture, its own vibe, its own meme, etc. But people can participate in it globally. Because historically, when you scale something up to a global level, it tends to become a very corporate structure. Everything tends to become very generic. Things generally, with scale comes consequences. And here we can create organizations that are global from day one and distributed, decentralized, but actually have their own culture and potentially currency and rules and norms and values. So that's kind of amazing. Via blockchains, we can have a lot of the same organization structures we've been using since the beginning of time. We can do so on a global level. But when we do so, we still get that local culture and flavor of a community, which is just really great. And so, yeah, that's why I think DAOs are awesome, because we can do all this stuff. And we've been talking about this stuff for years, and we've built out the core fundamental frameworks to do it via the Mohawk DAO contracts, the Aragon framework, DAO stack, colonies, etc. All these things, and just better Solidity code in general. So we have the frameworks to do this, and now we can finally start to innovate and get creative with what these look like, with things like bonding curves and more interesting voting mechanisms and cool DAOs formed around cool memes and stuff. So this hackathon is all about exploring that space and supporting each other to create amazing things. So we can coordinate and create communities and run projects and do all sorts of awesome stuff in this distributed, decentralized way that is super awesome and empowered by DAOs.
Awesome. That was great, brother. Thank you. Do we have any questions for Brad?
Yeah, that's my talk. I don't know. Do we have a Q&A section after this, or is there another talk after me? What's the next step?
The next step, some Q&A for you, and the next half an hour is for just people talking about what they plan on hacking.
Let me look at the schedule.
Cool. Yeah, happy to do a Q&A if anyone has questions, comments, or anything around that. But if there's someone else who's going to talk, I want to give them time too. So,
questions, comments.
It appears there's a meet and greet in an hour.
Not in an hour,
but
right now.
Why do we need to wait for an hour when we have all these people here now?
Yeah, let's meet. Let's greet.
Meet and greet. So I think a good way to do this would be to... unless Peace... What do you think, Peace?
No, I've been talking with my microphone muted.
Oh, great!
Yes, sorry. Great talk, Barada. It was great. And I was saying that we have half an hour now for just talking about what people plan on hacking on. The next talk is half an hour. Awesome. So we can do some Q&A if anyone has any questions or comments on what Barada talked about. And if not, we can get into talking about hacking projects.
A really general question here. Based on the hackathon tracks, do you guys think that this is going to be obviously, iterate working on the Moloch framework is going to be a big focus here. But I wonder if there's space for other protocols as well.
I didn't understand the question.
For example, if there's a team that is working on a DAO stack project or an Aragon project, is there a track for that as well?
Yeah, so tomorrow we will have first DAO stack, Colony, Aragon, and DAO also will introduce their DAO frameworks. There will be a panel discussing all the differences and trade-offs between different frameworks, and then there will be an Aragon and a Moloch workshop for working with Aragon and Moloch. So far, DAO stack people are not doing a workshop, and Colony neither. But there will be Moloch and Aragon workshops.
Yeah, and also, go ahead.
I was just going to say one of the tracks is interoperability. So I think ways for these different frameworks to talk to each other is going to be a good route to look into.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, and so James, to answer your question a little more concretely too, with DAO Hack Month, any and all DAOs are welcome. So any and all frameworks, and even if you just want to write up your own in Solidity or whatever, right? It's all about DAO hacking and all the DAO things. So we have some kind of more structured workshops and tracks and things, but anyone's welcome to bring whatever they want to the table.
Great, I think that's a really good clarification.
Awesome. Do you have any more questions or comments? No more. All right. So let's go on with talking about the projects. I haven't seen who is this speaking right now, who has the last question, but I wanted to ask that same person what he wanted to work on.
That was James.
James. Is there anything specific you want to work on, James?
Yeah, UI. UI is going to be the big focus here. We're going to be working on the Moloch v2, or maybe even some elements of Moloch v2x, but it's all going to be about making it really easy for non-DAO people to participate on board to start using.
Right, so you plan on designing an interface, building an interface.
Right, yeah, that's going to be the focus.
James, do you have a team?
No, I don't have a team per se. I'm going to be shilling the idea in the channels and seeing what we can bring together.
Right, and what kind of an interface? I'm not sure I understood.
Yeah, so we're building an art DAO, Trojan DAO.
Oh, okay.
And of course, the biggest kind of blocker here is that we really want to bring DAOs into local communities that have a stake in sharing resources, collaborating, whether they be art venues, whether they be autonomous art teams that are working outside the institutional framework. Together we can do more, and we need to really enable users to participate in that actively and to onboard. So yeah, that's going to be the focus. An art DAO that is going to be very simple and easy for non-crypto blockchain people to navigate, to onboard themselves, even to onboard capital.
All right, that sounds good. I'll put you on the map, and if you have a project name or something, we can make you a channel.
Trojan DAO v2, if you want to go ahead.
I would also say you guys can create your own channels. The permissions are open.
Right. Awesome.
So another project that I'm working on with Adam is Crypto Commons. And so we started this in the Hack for Freedom, and we're rolling it into DAO Hack Month, Culture World and all that. And essentially the idea is cooperatives the structure of them is very, very similar to DAOs. They aim to be flat organizations that are member-owned by and for members who work on them. Very DAO. And so what we're doing is we're mapping a cooperative structure to a DAO structure. So essentially, like in the legal world, there's like a bubble of things you can do. In the DAO world, there's a bubble of things you can do. At that intersection, it's like a DAO cooperative. And so we're building that out. We've got the DAO designed. We're setting up a legal wrapper. And then you'll be able to deploy a DAO cooperative on Ethereum by clicking a button, and in the state of Wyoming by mailing a letter. And so then you'll be able to have your organization, and we're basing around the idea of a comic book shop that wants to become a cooperative, a community-owned endeavor, and that can use like a DAO framework to help optimize that. So if that sounds cool, drop into the Crypto Comics channel. We're looking for people to help with memes, UI, UX, and just really, if you just want to help out, we'll find something for you to do.
Yeah, that sounds great. Sounds like a great project. All right, who's up next? How about Anton? Started. Continue from the top of the list. Anton, you're on. Maybe not. Or maybe you're just muted and you don't know that. Maybe not. How about Ben? Do you have any plans on what you want to hack on? Ben from 2Key Network.
Sorry, I too was muted. No, I'm checking out what's going on. I have a number of very early stage ideas, but nothing ready to pitch here yet.
All right, so you want to work on those ideas, or are you looking for a team to join?
Probably a team to join, to see what's going on. So my background's finance, and then more of like business development sort of thing.
All right. How about Brian Mutai, who is also muted. Nothing from Brian. Come on, Brian, you must have something. Something to share. Come on, Brian.
Digital finger pointer. You go.
All right. Okay, Deacon, you're next. Give us your Moloch minion magic.
Did you say me?
Yeah.
Okay, sorry. Well, DAOs is going to be having a couple bounties, mainly around the minion stuff. And so the minion is a contract that it allows the DAO to vote on kind of arbitrary contract calls from different contracts. So it opens up a lot of different use cases for a DAO to be able to interact with the outside world. So I think, there's going to be a few that we want to kind of we'll boost up, but really it's kind of open to any ideas on how to use the minion in an interesting, fun way. It's really kind of a new idea that we just have a proof of concept up for. And so just getting the community to hack on it, the Moloch DAO has been all community-driven development, so the hackathon is the best place to just experiment with these things and just see what we can do. There may be a couple other more DAO-specific things, but I think the main thing that we're concept hoping to play with is getting the minion community to hack on it. So tomorrow we'll have a talk more about community-driven development. So Moloch V2, the hackathon is the best house, and the minion experiment with these things and just see what we can do.
What time?
There may be a couple other more DAO-specific
What time?
things. I think the main thing. I think it's at noon tomorrow Mountain Time. So just getting the minion. And so tomorrow we'll have a talk more about driven development. Symbolic V2, hackathon is the DAO house, and the minion. Experiment with these things. And just see what.
Also, a quick plug for the server. Apparently,
there may be a couple other more DAO specific.
What time? Server. So thanks, Adam. And now
it's at noon tomorrow.
Those ones who couldn't get in, let them know. Now
tomorrow we'll have a talk more about.
I didn't even know there was a limit.
Yeah, me neither.
DAO house and the minion.
It's only for the voice channel.
Also, a quick plug
so that you can have like 200 people on video.
There may be a couple other more.
What time?
Server. Thanks, Adam.
Yeah, it's 25, but I just boosted it, which was only like $6.
Let them know.
Tomorrow we'll.
That should give us up to 100.
I didn't even know there was a limit.
Yeah, me neither. Thank you.
It's only for the voice channel, so that you can have like 200 people on video.
There may be a couple other more.
I'm working on it.
Thanks, Adam.
Yeah, it's 25. Me, I'm on Crypto Comics. It's only like
What?
that's my name. On Crypto Comics with Barada, that should give us up to 100.
I didn't even know there was a limit.
Yeah, me neither. Thank you.
It's only for
Alright, we got this bull next.
so that you can have like 200 people on video.
Yeah, it's pretty close. Am I coming through?
Thanks, Adam.
Yeah, it's 25.
Okay,
Me, I'm on
I am working on a version control system where a DAO votes on which set of files is the best representation for a given path. It's pretty simple and straightforward.
Alright, we got this bull about.
What is the what? Yeah, it's pretty close. Am I coming through? Like Git? Yeah, like Git. So it's essentially Git, or GitHub for control system where a DAO. I want to be able to handle things that Git can't. Like they just took down Crunchyroll or something, but there was an anime sharing program, and they took it off of GitHub because copyright material was transferred through it, even though it didn't contain any proprietary content itself. So I want to be able to help. In part, I mean, one of the goals is helping projects like that. I want to be able to handle things that Git can't, like they just took down.
That sounds really cool.
Crunchyroll or something, but there was an anime sharing
maybe the minion could
program, and they took it off of GitHub because copyright material was transferred through it, even though it didn't contain any proprietary content itself. So I want to be able to help. In part, I mean, one of the goals is helping projects like that. I want to be able to handle things that Git can't, like they just took down. Yeah, that sounds useful. I'm still really working out I'm very new to DAO. I mean, I've heard of them, but learning how to actually program them and create votes and do all that is all new to me. So I'm definitely open to anything, particularly tokens, how I can use, if a token is appropriate and how to use them and all that jazz. Yeah, that sounds useful. I'm still really working out I'm very new to DAO. I mean, I've heard of them, but learning how to actually program them and create votes and do all that is all new to me. So I'm definitely open to anything, particularly tokens, how I can use, if the underscore T control, is that okay, they're working more at the level of changes within a document, and I'm interested in sets of documents. It's very similar though, and I'm definitely interested in talking to do all that is all new to me, so I'm definitely open to anything, particularly tokens, how I can use, the underscore T control, is they're working more at the level of changes within a document, and I'm interested in sets of documents. It's very similar though, and I'm definitely interested in talking to do all that is all new to me, so I'm definitely open to anything, particularly tokens, how I can use the underscore T control, they're working more at the level of changes within a document, and I'm interested in sets of documents. It's very similar though, and I'm definitely interested in talking to
modular way where people can build like extra like module integration files.
They're working more at the level of
modules
I'm interested in sets of documents. It's very similar though, and I'm definitely interested in talking to
screen sharing, you can see the my meta design. Not being streamed by the source.
Yeah, I don't think the source is
and looking through the screen sharing, you can see the my meta design. Oh yes, you on YouTube. I forgot to turn it on to stream on Discord.
Yeah, I don't think the source is
move it along.
Also, you should totally drop a picture of the profile thing in one of the channel chats that I was using my meta looks. I think like describing it, it's a little abstract. When people see the pictures, like, oh yeah, totally have that.
Yes, you on YouTube. I forgot to turn it on to stream on Discord. Iconoclast? How do you spell it?
Yeah,
we'll talk about what you want to work on.
Also, you should totally drop a picture of the
even if you're currently muted.
my meta looks. I think like describing it, it's a little
maybe you're
abstract.
currently not around.
Oh yeah, totally have
Or you're just really shy. I forgot to turn it on to stream on Discord. Let's move on then. Iconoclast or Iconoclast? How do you spell it? About Luke? We'll talk about what you want to do.
Also, you should totally drop a picture of the
LKN, even if you're currently muted.
So I'm super interested in the idea of using community currencies to coordinate around public goods, and we'll probably be continuing to kind of hack on the One Hive DAO that we started, kind of experimenting with this concept on XDAI, but also just generally trying to think about ways for communities to leverage like currencies as a tool to coordinate. So I'm super interested in the idea of using community currencies to coordinate around public goods, and we'll probably be continuing not yet hack on the One Hive DAO that we started, kind of experimenting with this concept on XDAI, but also just generally trying to think about ways for communities to leverage like currencies as a tool to coordinate.
He wants to work on giving a speech. Would that be the case?
So I'm super interested in the idea of using
unfortunately, I'm not as technically savvy as the rest of you, so look forward to seeing what everyone builds, but won't be actively.
But also just generally trying to think about
just a reminder that we don't get just
ways for communities to leverage currencies as a tool
educational content and design work on giving a speech.
So I'm super interested in
yeah, and also like the
unfortunately, I'm not as technically savvy as the rest of you, so look forward to seeing what everyone builds, but won't be actively.
but also just generally
design,
just a reminder that
contract,
for communities to leverage
all those like, as complex as humans are, they use organization is, DAO use all those things. So there's lots of ways to use DAO. Yeah, and also like probably
unfortunately, I'm not as
contribute how whatever
the rest of you. So my meme game is pretty strong, so I'll have to check that, see if there's any bounties or available ways for you to contribute.
We got some new requests in the educational promotional content center, please definitely.
contribute how whatever.
And Prime, we got any plans?
Pretty strong, so I'll have to check see if there's any.
No, unfortunately, I
we got some new requests in the education promotion content and MXJXN, M Prime.
I have one too many ideas. That's my problem. And I see everybody with all these great ideas, and everybody's got the same idea a million times over, like ride sharing, and
we got some new requests in the education
sharing, cooperative management over company decisions and stuff. And I'm just trying to learn from what people have done and figure out what's working. One too many ideas and stuff. So I've just been sort of holding back. I see everybody with all these great ideas. Everybody's got the same idea what's working over ride sharing. But I was thinking of at least making a start sharing, starting a DAO for DAO development, cooperative membership token, onboarding challenge. I'm just trying to learn from what people have done and figure out what's working. One too many ideas and stuff. So I've just been sort of holding back. I see everybody with all these great ideas. Everybody's got the same idea what's working over ride sharing. But I was thinking of at least making a start sharing, starting a DAO for DAO development, cooperative membership token.
Yeah, I can do that. Sorry.
I'm just trying to learn from what people have done and
no
figure out.
offense.
Optimistic, you got your voice back.
And stuff. So I've just been sort of holding.
Yeah, there you go. Loud and clear.
Everybody's got the same idea.
I'm not a super techy guy.
Starting a DAO for DAO
I'm
development.
just trying to see what's going on, where I might be
Yeah, I can
able
do
to
that. Sorry.
I'm just trying to learn from
add or contribute.
No offense.
Not quite sure yet. Just trying to see what's going on.
Yeah, there you go. Loud and clear.
Yeah, we should have a clear list of what's actually going on
Techy guy.
once the late party is on.
Trying to see what's going on. Or you mean in
Yeah, I can do that. Sorry.
You mean separate from the like the social DAO, like challenge or the those challenges?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, we showing us about this, but there are not yet any teams for the going on right now. They're just joining the list once the late party is on.
Going on. Or you mean in
Yeah, I can do that. Sorry.
you mean separate from the
Peter.
like the social DAO, like challenge or the those challenges?
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah,
Loud and clear.
good to hear you guys again. Showing us about this, but there are not yet any teams for the
Yes, so I'm building Opala, civil resistance for the apps and store identity
Yeah, I can do
in
that.
the
Sorry.
future.
You mean separate from
For this hackathon, we are building Graveyard DAO, which will share mobile identity of Opala, which will enable to give scores to users based on their memberships and store identity. And main feature of Opala is to write on user score, and we are building score based on marketing sites, which is the price identity of Opala. And by the way, I'm able to members score, I think we have based on their memberships and dev and main feature of Opala is to write on user score, very open to other people score, everyone's welcome marketing sites, which is the price identity of Opala. And by the way, I'm able to members score, I think we have based on their memberships.
Howdy. Yeah, I'm really interested in layer 2 scaling solutions. I don't know if there's any project like that that was active in DAO Hack Month. But I think I'd like to join a team doing something like that. I feel like that's very needed right now with the ETH transaction fees just skyrocketing. But I haven't really seen. I've seen a few solutions that have been proposed, and even there's any like optimistic rollups that exist. But I haven't seen a way that people have taken them to actually provide them to the masses and like actually doing something like that. I feel like some sort of very needed right now project that can it's actually useful, I guess, for everyone. I don't know. So is there any project like that right now? I've seen a few solutions that have been proposed, and even there's any like optimistic rollups that exist, but I haven't seen a way that people have taken them to actually provide them to the masses and like actually doing something like that. I feel like some sort of very needed right now project that can it's actually useful, I guess, for everyone. I don't know.
But we have
is there any project like that? I've seen a few solutions that have been proposed, and even there's any like optimistic rollups that exist, but I haven't seen a way that people have taken them to actually provide them to the masses. Does XDAI have a timeline on when they are switching to GPOS from their current kind of decentralized, it's actually useful setup, I guess, for everyone? I don't know.
it already is
project like that. I've seen a few solutions that have been proposed, and even there's any like optimistic rollups that exist, but I haven't seen. Aren't they switching to a new consensus like taking them actually provide them to the masses?
Yeah, using stake token. I believe that's done.
GPOS from their. Was that really recent? Like in the last decentralized? It's actually a useful setup, I guess, for
the last month.
I don't know.
It already is
project like that. I've seen
using stake
solutions that have been proposed, and like any like optimistic rollups that exist, but I haven't seen. Aren't they switching to a new consensus like taking them?
I guess I can go next because I was actually going to play on what you were just saying, Sandpiper. But I'm most excited about on mainnet solutions last month. Could be layer 2, it can be other solutions, or that DAOs can use, because the DAOs I'm in, no one votes because it costs too much. So I guess I can go next because I was actually at least get signal what you were just saying, Sandpiper, but actual voting, I'm most excited about in an easier way so that everyone can solicitate much easier. Some of the people that might do it to like bother other solutions channels that DAOs can use does. The DAOs I'm in, and also to Sandpiper's point, like too much. So what's happening on Reddit? Like I'm excited about like a potential Reddit DAO actual voting. I'm most excited about communities, which is your way that's been talked about, but then much easier. What the Reddit scaling challenge is like bridge kind of good timing because it's overlapping with this, and also it's a month DAO hack month. So what's coming out of that is very interesting, and about like a potential Reddit something that comes out of this could be related to that as well. Communities, which is your way that's been talked about, but then
and it seems like XDAI is a good place to start from that too. But I do think there's also layer 1 scaling solutions like you said.
Like can bridge kind of good timing because it's overlapping with this, and also it's a month DAO hack month. So what's coming out of that is very interesting, and about like a potential Reddit something that comes out of this could be related to that as well. Been talked about, but then
and it seems like XDAI is a good place to start from that. But I do think there's also layer 1 scaling solutions like you said.
Hello everybody.
Good timing because it's overlapping with this, and also it's a month DAO hack.
So right now I've been working with the metagame mostly, my meta,
something that comes out of this could be
my expertise, and mostly development, marketing, teams,
but I do think there's also layer 1 scaling solutions like you said.
Hello everybody. So right now I've interested in most everybody here. One issue to be a lot is art DAOs, and mostly brought up early in the call. I know there's a couple of teams out there working on DAOs for artists, along with NFTs. So that's been really interesting right now, as well as the whole NFT space. And everybody here, that kind of comes to a lot of art DAOs. Don't have too much in the way of technological expertise, but anything artistic or marketing related or ideas. Along with come up with the dumbest, craziest ideas. Sometimes they're awesome. So that's really interesting. That's it. That's me. All right, everybody here. A lot of don't have too much in the way of technological expertise, but
hey, how's it going, everyone? I'm a judge for Fork the World. But in terms of DAO ideas, there are a lot that I have going on in the back burner, and a lot of it has to do with some of my interests outside of crypto. So, for example, I'm a musician, and something that I've been thinking about and noodling over in the past couple of months is, as a creator, are there better ways you can engage Fork the World? Like people who consume. But in terms of DAO ideas, music or art and so on and so forth, that I have through NFTs and the like, and just thinking about how to cultivate that. A lot of it has to do with some of my interests. So, like as an example, let's say you're creating an album or something like that, and maybe like through a DAO, your fans would be able to help decide what the album art would be, and so on and so forth, or like potential collaboration. Like people who can. It's still very nascent in terms of my thinking, but I think there's a lot of unexplored through NFTs and the like, and just thinking about how to cultivate that community. And thanks to everyone for organizing. So, like as an example, let's say you're creating an album or something like that, and maybe like through a DAO, your fans would be able to help decide what the album art would be, and so on and so forth, or like potential collaboration. Like people who can. It's still very nascent in terms of my thinking, but I think there's a lot of unexplored through NFTs and the like, and just thinking about how to cultivate that community. Yeah, and thanks to everyone for organizing. So, like as an example, let's say you're creating an album or something like that, and maybe like through a DAO, your fans would be able to help decide what the album art would be, or like potential collaboration.
Yeah.
It's still very nascent.
So I'm mostly interested in kind of the cross-chain solutions between mainnet and XDAI, making that a really user-friendly experience, so that voting, especially with Moloch DAOs, can maybe take place on XDAI, while treasury management and member management mostly happens on mainnet still, in order to increase voting. Also, just to follow on to WizWang, and also really interested in DAOs really supporting creators and public goods funding, especially. Those are kind of the two things that are really getting me excited right now in the DAO space and member management.
Sounds like there will be a team forming. Be a send fighter in sky.
Increase voting. Also, just to follow on. Yeah, and I think we have a chain connecting group already interested in if anybody wants to join and joining creators and public goods funding. Those are kind of the two things that are really getting me excited right now in the DAO space and member management.
Sounds like there will be a team forming.
Hey Pete, can you do me a quick favor and check your DM on Discord?
Yeah, and I think we have a chain connecting group already interested in if anybody wants to join and joining creators.
We don't want to call Mason.
Those are kind of the two things that are really getting me excited right now in the DAO space and member management.
Sounds like there will be a team forming.
Hey Pete, can you do me a quick favor and check your DM on Discord?
Yeah, and I think we have a chain connecting group already interested in if anybody wants to join and joining creators.
We don't want to call Mason.
Those are kind of the two things that are really getting me excited right now in the DAO space and member management.
Sounds like there will be a
See my screen? Hey Pete, can you do me a quick favor and check your DM on Discord?
Yeah, and I think we have a chain connecting group already interested in if anybody wants to join and joining creators.
We don't want to call Mason.
Those are kind of the two things that are really getting me excited right now in the DAO space and member management.
Maybe because I was trying.
See my screen? Hey Pete, can you do me a quick favor and check your
DM on Discord.
Yeah, and I think we have a chain connecting group already interested in DAO. Anybody wants to join and joining creators. Those are kind of the two things that are really excited about right now.
Sounds good.
Because
Can you do me a quick favor?
Check your DM on Discord.
Yeah, and I think we have a chain connecting group already interested in DAO. Anybody wants to join and join creators. Those are kind of the two things that are really excited about right now.
Yeah, I can only see you, Beef. Actually, I can't hear Mason at all for some reason.
Check your DM on Discord.
No, maybe other people can, but I can't. I can only hear you.
Yeah, I can hear him fine. It's really weird. I don't see any stream, but I can hear Steve.
Yeah, I can only see you, Beef. Actually, I can't hear Mason at all.
Sharing a screen,
No, maybe other people can, but I can't.
It still works. It was just, I had a deck that I was just going to
I can only hear you.
share.
Yeah, I can hear him fine.
Nice to see.
It's really weird.
Can you share in the general channel?
What?
Yeah, I can only see you.
Definitely do that.
Sharing a screen,
No, maybe other people can, but I
It
can't.
still works. It was just, I had a deck that I was just going to
I can only hear
share the
you.
link here, the general discussion.
yeah.
Nice to see.
Or you could share it, send it to people.
Can you share it in the general channel?
Oh, yeah. What, dude?
Yeah, I can only see you.
Definitely do that.
Actually, I can't hear Mason at all.
Sharing a screen,
I just realized I had him muted. That's why I couldn't hear him.
It was just, I had a deck that I was just
I
going
can only hear
share the
you.
link here, the general discussion.
Sorry.
to yeah.
Nice to see.
Or you could share it, send it to people.
Can you share it in the general channel?
Oh, yeah. What, dude?
Yeah, I can only see you.
Definitely do that.
Actually, I can't hear Mason at all.
Can you just drop your email in
I
the
just realized I had him
because
muted. That's why I couldn't hear him.
it was just, I had a deck that I was just
I
going
can only hear
Share the
you.
link here, the general discussion.
Sorry.
yeah.
Nice to see.
Or you could share it, send it to
Put it in the
people.
general discussion.
Oh,
yeah. What, dude?
Yeah, I can only see you.
Definitely do that.
Actually, I can't hear Mason at all.
Can you just drop your email in the
I just realized I had him
because
muted. That's why I couldn't hear him.
You can probably upload the slides directly to
the general discussion.
Sorry. I think it allows you to make
Or
arbitrary
you could
files.
share it, send it to
Put it in the general discussion. Google Slides, so the slides are an easy import.
Yeah, I can only see you.
Definitely do that.
Actually, I can't hear Mason at all.
Can you just drop your email in the
I just realized I had him
because
muted. That's why I couldn't hear him.
You can probably upload the slides directly to
General discussion.
Sorry. I think it allows you to make
Or
arbitrary
you could
files.
share it, send it to
Put it in the general discussion. Google Slides, so the slides are an easy import. Sure.
Definitely do that.
Actually, I can't hear Mason at all.
Can you just drop your email in the
I just realized I had him muted. That's why I couldn't hear him.
You can probably upload the slides directly to
General discussion.
Sorry. I think it allows you to make arbitrary files.
share it, send it to
Put it in the general discussion. Google Slides, so the slides are an easy import. Sure.
Definitely do that.
You can't do anything. Oh,
Just drop your
okay.
email in the
Gotta have technical difficulties.
You can probably upload the slides directly to
Ads
done. I think it allows you
must
to
have
make arbitrary files.
share it, send it to
Put it in the general discussion. Google Slides, so the slides are an easy import. Sure.
Definitely do that.
You guys see this now? You can't do anything. Oh,
Just drop
okay.
your email in the
Gotta have technical difficulties.
You can probably upload the slides directly to
Ads
done.
think it was.
Must have.
Share it, send it.
Put it in the discussion. Google Slides in the file and easily import it. Sure.
Definitely do that.
You guys see this now? You can't do anything else.
Email and
Gotta have technical
I can just give the intro about myself while this loads. So my name is Mason. I'm a research analyst at Messari. Messari provides crypto asset research, data, API as well. Feel free to check out our site at messari.io. There's a lot of free charts, screeners that play around with, as well as community charts that I can just give the intro about myself. So this presentation is going to be about the types of DAOs. I'm going to go over research analyst at Messari, the main categories, some data, crypto asset, just some other fun topics. Data. So as well, feel free to the next slide. The first thing I want to talk about is a lot of free charts, screeners that able to, as well as community charts that I can just give the intro about myself. So this presentation is about I just want to begin with like a quick introduction of the main category. Talk about data companies and fundamentally like what they are. It's just a set of contracts. So and feel free to DAOs present a really interesting coordination mechanism, not only to screeners that reduce costs that a lot of these contracts end up taking, whether it's like overhead operational costs, but to also enhance the. I just want to begin with like a coordination that all these contracts represent. Talk about data, starting with that like foundational knowledge. We can type in and dive into these types of DAOs. So while there's lots of different DAOs out there, like MakerDAO, those kind of exist like as one-offs. And I think what are more interesting contracts to the point of like what this hackathon is about is these different scalable solutions for DAOs. I just want to begin with like and so we have a few different categories. We have Moloch. We have the second version of Moloch, which is pioneered by Moloch and OpenLaw, type of raid guild that a bunch of other people, and we just continue to see iteration. Then we have other DAOs as like a service or DAO, and I think what is more interesting per se to the DAO stack, what common and so we're going to dive into high level differentiators and trade-offs that all we have a second version. So as we see by Moloch and OpenLaw, trade-offs that can make a bunch of people between customizable or very minimalistic DAOs. Some have a service, and quite a few do have tokens that they use to govern the network, while others don't necessarily have a designated governance token, but still have some sort of staking, or high-level differentiators that is taking place. A lot of DAOs have a pass-fail proposal like OpenLaw. Others have made very complex or trying to build versions of multi-decision proposals. Some have one of the last major trade-offs that we see if you have this weighted vote or time-bound vote compared to a one-to-one vote. So these are just high-level differentiators that is taking place. Others are just ones that we see across the board. Others have made very. The first DAO we're going to talk about is Moloch and decision proposals. So Moloch was designed as an idea of ruthless and have this weighted in order to create a DAO that works compared to a minimum viable DAO. As you would. And so one of the functionalities that they pioneered is this rage quit function, which we see across the board. Others have made very. The first DAO we're going to talk about is Moloch and present a proposal from like happening with Exit, this idea of ruthless and have this like whenever that was created down because it's the same, and it gained a pretty significant adoption as a grant and a community funding open source funding mechanism, especially within the Ethereum community. And the success kind of led to the next iteration, which was the more smart contract proposal for that. And so the LAO is something that is exemplified by this, where there's a legal entity, but also this software, the game entity adoption, and it's a really interesting advancement because now you're the last thing about the Fork ecosystem is that it wasn't really built next iteration of the idea to become a massive and scalable DAO that a bunch of people would set up, because when you're a successful container, you have these rise of software party platforms like DAOs that are designed to and it's a really interesting advancement because now the next DAO we're going to talk about is we're one of the first kind of DAO platforms that will be next on our list, a massive DAO stack. And DAO stack kind of a bunch of people would set up the organization with the organizational philosophy you have these rise. Although governing is quite simple when you have a few members and they can all vote on each proposal. The next DAO when the DAO gets larger, it is much more challenging if you're going to require a majority vote or 100 members or even 1,000 members. So they are using holographic instances which utilize organizations for generational philosophy. And at a high level, holographic consensus provides this quite simple when you have this kind of prediction market-esque like platform where anyone can vote whether a DAO will pass a certain number or 100 members. So that helps provide whether certain proposals will get passed. And those proposals only require a relative majority of the total voting pass. So rather than requiring 51% of an entire DAO, you just need a majority of the voting anyone can vote whether so it's designed to reduce the apprehension that is required from each member of the DAO. And those proposals the next we're going to talk about is a relative majority, and Aragon is voting one of the largest DAO ecosystem has the largest number of DAOs, and a majority it provides various different platforms or various different templates and modules that can enable different types of apprehension. And the fundamental value driver behind Aragon's network is Aragon's network, and which is used to incentivize different work tokens. One of the largest DAO ecosystems, where Aragon makes a key differentiator in terms of its strategy is by creating a regulatory and legal framework to enable different apprehensions. This is called Aragon Court. So Aragon Court is designed to Aragon's network just in the same way that we have a court system with a jury that's to incentivize different work tokens. Whether one entity is in the wrong of a certain action, the Aragon Court has a jury that votes whether an agreement has been violated. Or the key part this is behind Aragon's court system is that it has the ability to create subjective Aragon's network. For example, you could have a DAO that creates an agreement that says nobody can know whether 1% of the DAO, and that would be agreed upon by every member of the DAO. Certain action, you have members that court has a jury that attack the DAO, whether other members can take that to court and say, hey, this is not legal within our subjective Aragon agreement, our subjective contract, that it has court ability to create subjective. And the specific jury would say, that's correct, they have this agreement in place, and then they have an agreement that says against 51% attackers. And that would be agreed upon. It presents this opportunity for a lot more subjectivity in the organization, which exists that can take it out to the world and say, hey, and just a high-level overview of how the court's Aragon agreement has jurors who state Aragon and the specific network juror token AMJ in order to participate in the jury system, and jurors who vote in the majority consensus, if they vote the same way that the majority of jurors vote, then they are rewarded for their whereas jurors who high-level overview of how the minority consensus are penalized, so it incentivizes Aragon and the specific network juror to how they believe other people in order to participate in the jury system. It's a really fascinating experiment to see if it will be able to present the digital to really create a digital legal, whereas jurors who high-level overview of the last DAOs are penalized for incentivizes Colony provides modular platform for building DAOs and have a lot of different integration fascinating apps or organizations can utilize. the same way. And one of the key differentiators that they have is they have what's really a reputation leader. So reputation is earned by doing good work and incentivizing the DAO. It can be you can lose reputation if you do bad work. Integrations, the subtleties in like good and bad work is a little too nuanced for this overview, but it's used as a way to incentivize people to act in a way that an organization would require. An interesting aspect of this that they implement is that reputation decays over time. So you don't just have a lose reputation, a small minority portion of early participants who end up making it a little too nuanced for an overview, but at a very high level in this graph you can see kind of how the economy works, and that you have a single DAO like A, B, or C. An interesting aspect of this, the fees of some of the payments on that network go to the colony network, where it is either distributed to the meta colony, which is DAO aimed at maintaining the colony network and making sure that it's sustainable at a very high level, or you have these fees that are when you have a single DAO like A, B, or C. An interesting aspect of the colony network is just that it is distributed to the meta colony in a different way, and they try to handle it at the local level before escalating it to the entire DAO, so that it's sustainable. There's not a lot of great data you have about DAOs and these fees. It's kind of hard to determine how successful they're doing, but we can examine the different metrics that we have today. The first metric that we have is just to look at is how much capital is distributed to the meta, and as we can see, Aragon DAOs pretty much lead the way in terms of current value of the network. You have I think 6 or 7 Aragon DAOs that have well over $1 million. The kind of next leading competitor is DXDAO, which is DAO. We can examine the DAO metric, which has quite a considerable amount of capital, and then you also have several Moloch DAOs like Allow, how much capital Cartel Ventures, and the original Moloch DAO. The Aragon DAO is pretty well capitalized in terms of current value of the network. The next metric is important because if kind of all saying that DAOs are more effective form of capital formation, it's important to see how much will they refer to. And as we can see, Aragon DAOs is also just on the sheer capital they raise, but also deploy a significant portion of capital, which has gone out to the next metric in the development ecosystem. Notably, Moloch DAO has also deployed over $1 million in grants, which is pretty impressive considering how much RG are philanthropic donors. As we can see, it doesn't really have a sustainable component to it on the shares. And then of note on this slide as well is that DXDAO, which has over $7 million, which has fully deployed under 100,000. So we Moloch DAO has also deployed over $1 million. The next metric is interesting because one of the ways that we can evaluate DAOs today is by their participation in sustainable components on the shares. And see that as well as a DAO has over 70 grows in membership, its participation rate increases. You do have a higher participation rate, higher participation rate in Aragon DAOs, but they also tend to have fewer members. Next metric is interesting in this chart. Any DAO with over 100 members has under 50% participation is, you can see that is bad depending on what you compare it to. A DAO comparing it to, say, the amount of shareholders that vote participate in a public company, well then 50% might have a higher participation. If you're just trying to make the case that DAOs are going to be a more effective form of coordination at scale, any DAO, I think it's still yet to be determined how much more effective they're going to be. And so that's why I'm really interested to see over time as these DAOs grow in numbers, how effective they remain, not only in public company, how they use capital, but their community and member participation as well. Trying to make the case that DAOs are going to be. The last piece of data we're going to take a look at is just the proposals and voters of the network. Because still yet proposals are mostly how effective the networks. So that's why I'm really interested to see assigning over time as these DAOs and accomplish effective they remain, not only objectives that further their causes. So you can see that Aragon DAOs tend to have free voters, but a small piece of data we're not going to look at is just North DAOs also tend to have voters. Proposals, so this could also be just part of the nature of how members join DAOs, because each proposal, like each member joining, is also accomplishing. And then you notice that with the exception of further DX DAO and Genesis DAO, the DAO stacks tend to have voters, but not to say that it's good or bad. It really just North DAO's objective of the organization. This could also be just part of the nature of how members join. And the last piece of information I want to talk about is accomplishing about this concept of becoming a stateless organization. DX DAO and Genesis DAO, DAO stacks. Usually the next slide. Not to say that I think the end goal and the ethos objective is of the organization has to become a stateless organization at scale is quite challenging. How members, but it's something that is incredibly informational. So today, DAOs have effectively proven that they can do this concept of becoming that they can potentially be more DX DAO and Genesis DAO. I think the next level of competition that they face is trying to be better than companies in the existing legal jurisdictions. For example, can the LAO actually, or Metacartel Ventures, or any of these companies incredibly informational. So today, companies that would be similar and effectively proven, and if that's true, then I think you'll start to see a lot greater adoption. I think the next level it'll be the next level of, hey, can these actually become under multinational organizations? Can they operate at a global scale at an effective way? And then finally, I think we can put these companies DAOs that will become stateless today. That would be that's from DAOs that build, I think, anonymously and to see a lot greater adoption from the ground up. And then our DAOs that should be the next approach a more decentralized, a progressive decentralization. Can they approach and maybe abandon all their legal entities at an effective way? And then finally, so I think that we're kind of at that first first phase, moving into the second one. And anonymously, I'm really excited to see how this space evolves from the ground up. And then our DAOs that should be the next approach. So thank you all. I'm happy to answer any questions. Can they feel free to reach out to me on Twitter or at my email if you have any questions. So I think that we're kind of at that first phase, moving into the second one. And anonymously, I'm really excited to see how this space evolves from the ground up. And then our DAOs that should be the next questions or comments. So thank you all. I'm happy to answer any questions. Can they feel free to reach out to me on Twitter or at my email if you have any questions. So I think that we're kind of at that first phase, moving into the second one. And anonymously, I'm really excited to see how this space evolves.
If there are no questions,
Our DAOs that should be the next
questions or comments.
So thank you all. I'm happy to answer any questions.
7 more minutes until the agenda. Whenever you introduce someone.
Will the slides be made available? Go through them.
First phase.
I'm
fine if they're made available. I'll have
questions or comments.
some of these slides coming out more specifically in the research posts I do this week. So stay tuned because it'll be
introduce
more updated data.
Will the slides be made available? Yeah, if you want to circle back and share that, go through them.
First phase. I'm fine if they're made available. I'll have
some more people coming out more
specifically in the research posts I do this week. So stay tuned because it'll be
introduce
more updated data.
Will the slides also? Yeah, if you want to circle back and share that, go through them.
First phase.
The entity not speak.
I'll have
some more people
specifically in the research posts I do this week. So stay tuned because it'll be
introduce more updated data.
Will the slides also? Yeah, if you want to circle back and
The
share
entity
that,
is muted.
go
The entity not speak.
I'll have
Some more people Alright, that's cool. Hope you learn some new things here then.
Yeah, if you want to circle back.
How about Blair? Blair 5 or Blair 3? You have any plans on working on something? What's your goal here? Alright, that's cool. If your goal is not to speak, then hope you learn some new things perfectly fine.
You are succeeding.
You are succeeding. But we have no prize for that, unfortunately. How about Blair? Blair 5 or Blair 3? I guess the intrinsic reward is plans on working on something? What's your goal? Who else is new around here? About Peppo, right? If your goal is not to pronounce it, then hope you learn some new things perfectly fine.
You are succeeding.
You are succeeding. But we have no prize for that, unfortunately.
Hey, you guys, I will just say hi.
5 or Blair 3? I guess the intrinsic reward is plans on working on something?
In the middle of my dinner, so I would be able to.
Who else is new around here?
I've been working on DAOs for a long time. Working on basically communication tools for DAOs.
You are succeeding.
I think of a wiki that is governed by a DAO.
Hey, you
guys, hopefully it's going to be compatible with Aragon and DAOs very soon. In the middle of my dinner, so I would be able to. I've been working on DAOs for a long time. Working on basically communication tools for DAOs.
You are succeeding.
Think of a wiki that is governed by a DAO. Hey, hopefully it's going to be compatible with Aragon and DAOs very soon. In the middle of my dinner, so I would be able to. I've been working on DAOs for a long time.
Magenta starts.
Basically communication tools for DAOs.
You are succeeding.
Think of a wiki that is governed by a DAO. Hopefully it's going to be compatible.
Oh, I skipped Yellow before. I think Yellow you should also introduce yourself. Sorry for skipping you earlier.
That's what I get for being the last number on the list. Hi everyone, I'm Yellow. You are succeeding. Yeah, I'm here to support y'all hacking projects. I'll also be helping to organize some of the raider team from Raid Guild, working on bounties and stuff like this. But overall, yeah, I'm here for support to coordinate DAO Hack Month. That's what I get. Both the event and cooperation between Raid Guild and the game. Hi everyone, I'm Yellow. You are succeeding. Yeah, I'm here to support. So yeah, y'all, if you need support or if you have questions, feel free to just DM me or some of the at me and the team Raid Guild, working on bounties and stuff like this. But overall, yeah, I'm here for support to coordinate DAO Hack Month. That's what I get. Both the event and cooperation between Raid Guild and the game. Hi everyone, I'm Yellow. You're succeeding. Yeah, I'm here to support. So yeah, y'all, if you need support or if you have questions, feel free to just DM me or some of the at me and the team
Magenta.
Working on bounties and stuff like this. But overall, yeah, I'm here for support to coordinate DAO Hack Month. That's what I get. Both the event
talking to us about real world DAOs that don't need DAO frameworks. Maybe they don't know about them.
Yeah, I'm here to support. So yeah, y'all,
she's going to tell us how we are really
feel free to just DM me or
creating this
at me and
come up with something new with these DAOs. Just with a technological framework or something that's people been doing it for a long time. Talking to us about real world DAOs that don't need DAO frameworks.
Sure, I'm just trying to find my way back to the
community. Tell us how we are really
feel free to just DM me or at me
it's hilarious.
Framework or something that's people been doing it for a long time. Talking to us about real world DAOs that don't need DAO frameworks.
Sure, I'm just trying to find my way back to the community.
Tell us how we are really
feel free to just DM me or at me
it's hilarious.
framework or something that's people have been doing it for a long time, talking to us about there is a button for that under the chat, under the channel.
Trying to find my way back to
Tell us how it is.
These are just kind of like words. I'd be surprised if many of you aren't already familiar with a lot of what I'm saying, but we'll give it a go. So my name is Magenta. I've been a community organizer with grassroots movements and also kind of like innovators inside of corporations and governments and like how to organize some of the words that I'd be surprised if many. I've been working on that for the past 10 years, a lot of ways. Basically building relationships across multiple movements and through an international network of local organizers and community networks, grassroots, and that is called Blue Network. Also, that's like my primary organizational affiliation and where I've been messing around with corporations, decentralized organizations, how to design and like how to actually support. I've been working on that for the pattern of movement organizing because it really falls between the cracks of multiple movements and through an international structures of finance and marketing and all this stuff. But there's not people all over the world that like kind of need to adopt this stuff now for climate change around with decentralized organizations. So I'm just going to kind of walk through some of the patterns that I see working on like the decentralized organizing on the ground because it really falls. I would imagine with a few of you I've met so far working in this space, a lot of the motivations are really similar. So I would think that a lot of you are connected with one or more of these stuff now. Let's see. So I'm just going to kind of walk through some of the I guess one thing to say is like pretty much everywhere as far as I can tell, there's like this, I would imagine, a layer of what I might call anarchist decentralized utopia that's like invisible to most people, but it's like fully scaled and fully there. It's just separate from like what media shows as well and what let's get educated about. So I'm gonna walk through some of the except it's often not super utopic because for the most part the thing is like having if they're doing this out of survival necessity. I like it's completely lack access to the existing, but it's like fully structured there of just separate capital and just the way that like organizations have grown into value and all this stuff. Not super utopic because for the most part, yeah, a lot of these communities are given like if they're doing this out of survival necessity, genocided. I like it's completely lack access to the existing, but it's like structured. So that some of the factors contribute to my separate capital and just the way that works. But it's also just a very natural pattern. So some of the places that you see this happening are cooperatives. And not a lot of this. There are formalized cooperatives like Mandarin in Spain in the 1960s. There's a lot of rural investor cooperatives in the U.S. And African American people and in Pakistan itself and in India. A lot of places it's a very natural way, but it's also just a very natural pattern economy. So some of the places that you see this happening are exchange and shared ownership. And not a lot of this. There are formalized cooperatives. Formal cooperatives are like one thing in terms of that movement. It's also a very natural cooperatives in the U.S. And community forestry is an example of a decentralized India. So there are people all over the world who are teaching each other how to manage their forest systems and have income cooperatives. There's food products that can be grown in the forest. It's also a very and also stave off deforestation and destabilization and community forestry by creating healthy integrated economies that so there nurture ecological wellness in our city. But also how to provide for people's well-being. So there are distributed networks of that. It goes by many different names. Latina is one movement that also stave off deforestation, community forestry, regenerative agriculture, agroforestry. There's like a whole bunch of names. It's funny. It's one of those movements that goes by so many different ecological wellness in our And then also I described the psychedelic compound as pretty decentralized. So there are distributed different facets that people engage with different substances. The different substances themselves have their own kind of independent structures and trade networks and stuff. It's all forestry, super interesting. And that gets legalized. A whole bunch of names. It was funny that one of them started to see a lot of people look at how to formalize and then also I described the psychedelic of use and trade and clinics and other kinds of substances and different substances like how to preserve the decentralized nature of that and some of the ethical super interesting and that gets legalized more capital towards that trade from decentralized here's a few I put these slides in the Discord chat too in case you want to look at the website. So a few networks that tend to aggregate different on the ground projects. So like how to preserve the network is one. Regenerosity is an interesting collaboration. Super interesting. And that gets Lush Cosmetics and IKEA and Buckminster Fuller Institute. And they basically each have run these competition prizes in case you want to look at the website. What's called regenerative work. So regenerative is like the opposite of extractive industry projects. So like ways of creating like ways of organizing that create more life, more diversity, more anti-fragility, as opposed to extractive where you're unsustainably pulling resources, capital, and they basically each have run competition prizes. And Climate Justice Alliance is a network supporting mostly people of color regenerative work. So regenerative is like the opposite of extractive organizing. So like ways of creating out extractive energy plants, organizing that create more life, more diversity, renewable energy, cooperative. And so they have a really interesting organizing model that's fairly decentralized, but they also have ways of competition. And Climate Justice Alliance is a network mostly people of color regenerative work. So regenerative is like the opposite of extractive organizing. So like ways of creating out extractive energy plants, organizing. And here's a few like specific air projects. So they have a really interesting organizing like way like on the ground for a second. Can you describe an actual tour that I went on Climate Justice in Richmond, California a few years back? First we visited a community farm called Urban Field that teaches young people of color how to farm and how to enterprise and distribute. And here's a few like projects. And so the urban farm networks are another form of decentralized organizing, like way like on the ground best practices to consider how to farm and also how to adapt to climate change. First we visited a community farm called Urban Field plant that teaches young people seed varieties that are hardy to either drought or unusual temperature or moisture, etc. So there are whole networks of people kind of carrying that organizing. So on this tour we also stopped at a bike shop that repaired and sold bikes and offered also how to adapt. And both of these operated to some extent also as community centers, which I think is a common feature that I see that teaches young people about varieties that are where projects are also vibrant because of community or support, etc. And where there is what I call audibility across the community. We also so it's like sort of prepared and for intelligence of what's going on. And both of these operate in what people say, which I think well together. The closest thing I can think of for that is a where project, but the church is like vibrant, more centralized thing through and through, and these things have more like distributed and where there is structure and more like interconnected method. So it's like sort of a parenting that happens again in a very organic way. And then the next stop on that tour, we stopped at a demonstration house that had a front yard garden. The closest thing I can show you for that different aspect, some of the pictures like gardening, centralized thing. So they have like culture beds out of the way there, channel rainwater, and the purpose of that project was to be a disaster resilience hub to prepare people. Is a region that was really prone to earthquakes. So they wanted people to know how to be able to preserve enough food to be able to last for a while. And subvert water issues that might happen. So they have like that as well. And those also serve as places where the neighborhood health purpose of that project was to be a disaster in the United States. That's when immigration is a try to catch up earthquakes. So they wanted more on how to preserve enough. So they were using that to train each other up on like how to protect those sorts of people when there were water issues and whatnot. Like that. So just to give a sense of like, and those also that's one layer of it, and then there's another layer I would say where there's this project called global regeneration. So they were using that where people are also starting to protect their face in a decentralized, almost like one organized way, where they're trying to organize. Just to give a sense of scale, there's one layer of it, and then there's another layer. And so that's interesting because you're starting to see there's basically like a lot of finance professionals where there's a project called global regeneration. So they were topic structure are also saying like, hey, we don't actually have it's like sorry pathways to service where they're trying to organize no one's going on. Like can't even vet projects. It's like really complicated. So you're starting to see so basically who knows how to do it? And I think the answer is like decentralized challenge of organizing possibly through DAOs. One other thing that I think is going to be possible we don't actually have technology in tandem where there's kind of organizing leadership. Like I think you're going to be able to program things like having grit working groups that service how to do it. And I think the answer is like some of the solutions that are circulating on Twitter now to adopt at scale fast. One other thing that I think is okay to come back, we're going to have like huge waves of migration in tandem. COVID is just like one tiny disaster of what leadership is happening. Like I think you're going to be able to program I think everyone's interest helping more adoption that service happen. And I think the answer is like some of the giving them the peer-to-peer finance honestly to adopt at scale fast. So a couple of working groups that I could see having like we're going to have like huge waves from different networks as we climb these networks. COVID is just like one tiny disaster of onto DAO technologies. Like so it's an answer to collaborate with some of the DAOs that are out there. You could have like a group where there's just like pollinator role or some of the organizers that they'll kind of share their people who role is that I can see on the ground for networks where they're sharing between a whole bunch of networks and they're almost like knowledge transfer bridges or go between DAO technologies so that people can share resources across their whole DAOs that are out there. And that role is like never there's just like pollinator role there are people who are good at that to do it and their lives are a lot less stressful if there are kind of like decentralized but we're sharing a bit of that whole bunch of networks. We recognize almost like knowledge in our bridges and so on and support that. And then marketing is like another straightforward thing I think and that's helpful in terms of those working groups because a lot of the initiatives don't have capital. They're not really stressful if there are like higher marketing kind of like decentralized but we're sharing a bit of that whole bunch of networks like hey we come from this way grassroots network there's a ton of action but they're not going to hire a marketing team like another straightforward thing I think and that's helpful in terms of those working networks. So if you had a marketing crew that a lot of the customers don't have capital that is I think less stressful if there are higher marketing kind of like utilize those sharing hey we come from this way so you're at about 5 more minutes in here they're not going to hire a marketing team like another straightforward thing I think. Yeah, I think refugee migration is another one of these cases where on the ground decentralized networks that is I think almost DAO organizations utilize those coming together is going to be helpful. Because if you can get so you're at about 5 more some kind of loose thoughts around this and also some really amazing facilitation professionals who have designed kind of like truly immersive sessions to walk us through where
kind of setting up some infrastructure to be able to work and handle the cultural questions that we find with that coming together. But you could, for example, have a local community, maybe there's a neighborhood that agrees, they're like, yeah, we're happy to bring some people here, and there may be types of enterprises that may easily be able to set up, so that there could almost be like bridges for economic migration and agreed upon cultural pathways where a community is like, yes, you could, for example, vent to this happening, and we're happy to support local communities. Yeah, I don't know all the like machinery stuff around that, because maybe like a lot more complicated, but that's one of the ways where you could have these almost like so that there could almost be like bridging flows and support to kind of stabilizing cultural pathways or economic like ecological realities of people as they have political destabilization. Yeah, I don't know all the like machinery stuff around that, because maybe like a lot more complicated, but that's one of the ways where you could.
Yeah, I think one of the other things happening is that
bridging flows.
Decentralized movements are starting to stabilize centralized organizations. This is happening on the ground partly as we recognize that our offerings are like needed by machinery of society at large, and there's a gap between our
one of the ways where
yeah, I think one of the other things happening is that
people are bridging flows.
Decentralized movements are starting to stabilize. So what we're kind of like collectively looking at across this is happening on the ground and partly as we recognize that our own decentralized institutions by those who are receptive to society at large, and to redirect and distribute power, and ultimately also to provide extractive pipelines, like extractive pipelines, for example, for products. And so what we're kind of like collectively looking at into localized applications. So I think we're just like a really exciting point of where real world DAOs, like the centralized structures don't and decentralized organizational structures, and there needs to be ultimately also more formalized organizational structures, like which DAOs just so what we're
programmable organizations, cryptocurrency, the international nature of all of that stuff is being more freely and quickly. It's going to take a while to train people up, but a lot of these people are not tech oriented, so I'm trying to coordinate with enough of those folks who are willing to like play with the tech so we can then interface with people and start to do more bridge building, more and also interface with the international nature of all of that stage so that you actually can more and quickly maybe heavier. It's going to take a while to develop and that will up, but a lot of people are not tech oriented, so I'm trying to really curious to see what will happen, and hopefully that was like a little bit of a helpful overview about what's going on there, and start to this is the main project that I'm anchored with. If you want to look through it, it's a pretty good database so that you're freely learning more quickly and use the number of years to describe all that's what it's intended to be, is it? But tech oriented, so these different movements and what happened, and hopefully that was like a little bit of a helpful overview about what's going on there, and which I see as like another example of this pattern that has a lot of interface. If you want to look through it, it's resources and so that more people would benefit learning more quickly, but it has been developed by that's where the intended community is. But tech oriented, and if you want to get what happened, and hopefully that was like a little bit of a helpful overview about what's going on there, and which I see another example of this pattern that has a lot of interface.
I don't see like the slide would
benefit learning more.
So can you share a link to all the links that share and contact info in the chat?
And if you want to get put the link to the thing in there, and which I see another example of this pattern that
I don't see like the slide because like researching these type of things is what so can you share that link to crypto with all the links that share and info in the chat? Great.
And if you want to get put the link to the thing in there, And that's yours. Another example of a pattern.
I would start just one logo. With building languages, this type of things was okay. Actually, government prepared Great. Ellie Hanover, do you want to introduce yourself and what people are working on? Ellie, the muted guy. I would start just one logo. With building languages, this type of things was okay. Actually, government prepared Ellie Hanover, do you want to introduce yourself? Are you maybe ready to go earlier than expected? Ellie, the muted guy. I would start just one logo. Maybe not. This type of things was okay. Actually, Ellie Hanover, do you want to introduce yourself? Are you maybe ready to go earlier than expected? Ellie, the muted guy. I would start maybe not. This kind of went better than expected, but I kind of rushed it and was worried that the opening there wasn't going to go so smooth earlier than expected. Luckily it did. And apparently Ahmad fixed the live stream behind the scenes, so thank you very much for saving the day. Maybe not. This kind of went so we had the unexpected. For the world introduction, kind of rushed it, and then we had that Why DAOs Are Awesome by Durara. The opening there wasn't going to go so smooth earlier than expected. Luckily it did. Then we had apparently what kind of DAOs there are, what do they do? So by Mason from Nasari. Now we had Magenta telling us all about the real world DAOs that we don't really need to have unexpected. For the world introduction, really kind of rushed it. Then we had some Why DAOs Are Awesome by Durara. Next we got Luke from DAO talking about rebuilding nations with DAOs. Then we had apparently what kind of DAOs ready now? What do they do? So by Mason from Nasari. Now if she's not, we got Magenta joining us all about wants to tell us what he was working on. We don't really need to have unexpected. Everyone,
hello. Let's see. So yeah, I just got a tip actually on Yela's Twitter. I'm currently in Guatemala at the Fungi Academy. So yeah, somewhere in the back of my mind I have a DAO course here to experiment with some friends. So yeah, more or less I'm just tuning in as an onlooker to see what the new developments are. So yeah, just got a tip actually on Yela's Twitter.
What kind of academy?
I'm currently in Guatemala. It's the Fungi Academy. So yeah, somewhere in the back of my mind I have all kinds of courses on mushroom population, from edible, medicinal, and so yeah, more or less I'm just tuning in as an onlooker to see what together an online course which we release at the end of this month.
What kind of academy?
I'm currently in Guatemala. It's the Fungi Academy.
That sounds great.
It's like a mushroom camp. So they do edible, medicinal, insight courses. So yeah, more or less I'm just tuning in how to do mushrooms. So yeah, now they're at the end of this month. Which is what I'm to be honest. I suppose knowledge it's the Fungi Academy.
That sounds great.
If I can ask like a kind of newbie question, I've been a little bit out of the DAO scene for a while. So courses, those of you guys that are online, what's your favorite mushroom? So I'm pretty much familiar with Aragon and Colony, the two that I know. What are you guys watching on? That's the Fungi Academy. If I can ask like a kind of newbie question, I've been
DAOs tech and
so those of you guys that are online, what's your favorite mushroom?
Tomorrow we have Peaches in a panel discussing all the differences and what each DAO framework does, which one is good for what and all that.
So we can because you guys are online, what's your favorite
Tomorrow we have panel discussing all the differences and what each DAO framework does. Loud and clear, which one is good for what and all that.
Some connection issues, but we should be fine.
Normal.
So because you guys are online, what's your favorite
panel discussing all the differences and what each DAO framework does. Loud and clear, which one is good for what and all that.
Some connection issues, but we should be fine.
You gotta have text edit to normal. Alright, feedback.
I lied, I wasn't fine. Yeah, I think I'll just give it a shot and we'll see what happens. Actually, I missed the first part of Magento's presentation because it didn't relate to a lot of the stuff that she mentioned. Let me open up my presentation. Fine. Where is everybody checking in from? Yeah, I think I'll just give it a shot and we'll see what happens. Actually, I missed the first part of my presentation because you guys see my to a lot of the stuff that she mentioned. Oh, you did double spin. Oh, shit. Okay. Presentation. Fine. I'm going to do this. Where is everybody checking in from? Yeah, I think I'll just give it a shot and we'll see what happens. Yeah, I just got my first part of 43-inch 311 and you guys see my to a lot of the stuff, but right now you should only see my double slide, correct? Okay. Presentation. Fine. I'm going to do this. Where is everybody checking in from? Or do you see more than my slides? Yeah, I think I'll just...
Yes, your slides and your Curacao economic crisis.
Yeah, I just got my first part of 43-inch, so I think you guys should work now. That's good. Right now, you should only see... Hi guys, I'm Luke Weber. Was born in Curacao in the Caribbean. Today I'll give a small talk about rebuilding nations with DAOs. I'm also going to give a quick overview of the project we've been running in Curacao, which is called CuraDAO. It's a social impact DAO that has been running for almost 12 months now. So these slides are used in Denver, guys. But ever since a lot of change, so if you see these orange things, this means the situation has changed. Talk about rebuilding nations with DAOs. I'm also going to give a reference. This is where Curacao is located, which is called CuraDAO. It's a small island just north of Venezuela, and it's been running for. It is a country with about 160,000 inhabitants. It used to be a Dutch colony, which means that since a lot of change, we speak 4 different languages. We speak Dutch, speak Pampiamento, the local language, and English and Spanish. We're very multinational in terms of our population. Also because we're kind of, as you see, we're kind of in the middle of everything. So we have a big port, we're a real hub for the Caribbean region and Latin America, which means that, and you might know Curacao because of beaches, offshore, the local language, like I mentioned, English and offshore country. We're like Bahamas, and we also had a big oil refinery, so we have a very high GDP compared to the other countries in the region, and we have a relatively good infrastructure that's both physical and digital. I believe about 4% of the population has a cell phone or internet connection, and our GDP is about half of let's say, a normal Western nation. But with the good side, also a lot of bad things. So there's a huge inequality gap in terms of economic power. We have a divided society, both based on different cultural beliefs, but also different members of the population have a cell phone, religion connection. There's a lot of distrust on the island in general. People have a negative view on other individuals, and it makes makes it really hard to collaborate or even start a project. There's some sort of an outdated, non-traditional mindset we have to invite. With the whole Black Lives Matter crisis and things happening now, one should really focus on that. It's something that has been playing a role on the island as well. And you could say that's the result of slavery, but just the mindset view on ever since it's still an a scar for the general population and something that really bothers me. I'm going to mute myself for 5 seconds because I live next to a church. Crisis and things happening now. One should really focus on that. It's something that the population has to play a role on the island as well. And you could say that's the result of slavery, but just the mindset view on ever since it's still a scar for the general population and something. You do see my screen's moving, like my slides are correct. 5 seconds because I live next to a church, because I don't on my own, on my other focus on that. It's something that the population has to play a role on the island as well. And you could say that it's a result of slavery. So we have decided that currently we have to see a big property. So the full oil refinery, which used to be our main source of income, going through horrible times. Like we used to have a contact with Venezuelan people, but after since the whole crisis there, they are not operating with us anymore, and that means that about 4% of the population lost their job over the past 3 years. In addition to that, COVID-19 came around, and the rest of our economy was kind of relying on tourism, which isn't around anymore either. So when I was presenting in Denver, we had 21% unemployment rate. This number has risen to almost 51%. And that about, you could imagine this leads to a lot of poverty and a lot of internal conflicts and even more inequality. In addition to that, you add all these problems together, it becomes quicker, the rest of a huge complex problem on tourism. And it got to around month where people started rioting. When I was presenting in Denver, we had 21 police cars on fire. And the reason being is that they're very 1%, very affiliated with the government, with all the corruption that we've seen over the past 10-20 years, and even more, over 50% of the population is now dependent on food aid, and adding this all up, you get a big mixture of problems. So people start rioting, and now we get to the Dow part. So we've been running this 5 years on the fire for the past 11 months, and initially it was just an alternative. We were trying to test something out to see if it could help. Right now, the alternative population, it might be just the best solution of food aid, and being on a small island, if you have a good solution, you might as well get the government involved, and now they are willing, or they could be willing to adopt it and roll it out to the national level. So we have a couple of great things that we started to work on. We have different communities that are already taking action. Right now, we have a next generation that is very tech-savvy. We have new sectors open and opportunities emerging. You can see certain things, e-commerce finally getting off the ground, and we used to be a regional innovator with our offshore business and also out to the national level. So what we're trying to do with CuriDAO, we're trying to create an accessible ecosystem where different groups, spaces, and organizations can come together, contribute and benefit from the development of our island. We have new sectors, somewhat like a trust machine. We have people, we have resources, but we lack financial and e-commercial resources, and we lack trust. And with CuriDAO, with our offshore functions that come from the DAO, we hope to facilitate this trust. So what we're trying to do is collaboration and work towards benefit where different groups. So what we started to work on was creating this ecosystem built on 3 principles, which seem relatively normal to most people, but on a small island that has rich history and corruption, these things aren't a given. And with transparency, the first one, being able to see all financial transactions in order to be already a big development from the traditional system. So currently over 50% of the foundation supported by the government do not provide the balance sheet at the end of the year, which means that the funds basically end up in people's pockets where they should history and inclusivity. We have a very racial battle going on in the island, where you're race able to see all the in race. If you might be from Dutch descent, but if you're not Dutch enough, or you might be from Curacao descent, but if you're not Curacao enough nation, we'll still be excluded. And finding efficiency, we still run a lot of our government and business operations using physical paperwork, which makes things extremely slow. For example, waiting for your internet connection to be installed at your home could take 6 weeks, and extending your driver's license could take up to weeks. So we started to apply this to high efficiency, 90 still run at 43 numbers for people from ages 16 to 74 years old. Imagine trying to onboarding a grandma onto MetaMask in 2009 for your internet connection, explaining gas fee into them. So you can already imagine that extending your numbers might seem relatively little, but there's a lot of effort that you put into the creation of such a community. But over the past month, we've been able to conduct 7 projects, ages 6, all 43 members of the DAO have imagined reputation in the DAO, which by the way running on DAO stack. We have distributed already over 11 feet and organized different meetups, different events, and also to researchers. One of the projects I wanted to highlight is this project that we did with Look Climate. It's a local group of teenagers that do sustainability education and cleanups. They were already working with some government organizations, but they approached us because they felt that they were never taken serious. So we had the other approach and we asked them, what would you need? What would you like to do? And in the end, they applied for my grant proposal to organize different cleanups, and they requested about local 1.5 teenagers in order to pay for the resources needed to organize these cleanups. You could think of water, juice, different cleaning materials, and transport. We also regularly do meetups on the island itself, and bring people together. And I think when you talk about DAO community and they being at the heart, this is a good example of it. You can see people from different races, different backgrounds, all coming together for the similar common good of the island. And this is something that we've been promoting a lot to get people excited about the DAO. We also, if you start with the cryptocurrency aspect or the blockchain aspect or what's so, and I think when you talk about are not going to take even the time to learn about it, if you really talk about a future that different races together create, and all coming together tools and handful for similar opportunities, you can see that they get really excited and they start exploring a lot to get people excited about it. Corona came about around the corner, the situation on the island became worse, and automatically we sped up our project. However, since the last 3 months, we organized another 5 projects, distributed another $3,000, which resulted into a couple of more feed projects. We get actually getting closer and closer to the general audience, let's say. So a couple of things we did, we started an innovator collective called Innovation C, and in order to simplify our messaging, in order to get the right people involved, and we created a digital platform for the community to have discourse and for the community to get in touch with each other. A lot of times in the audience, you don't see the good stuff. You only hear about the bad stuff, the riots, the poverty. So starting to plant these seeds in people's minds that, hey, there are good people out there, you can trust messaging, you can collaborate with people, and that's also the part of, I believe, for part of the DAO, to have discourse, extension for communities to get in touch with each other, part being on the blockchain, then also all the extensions and all the stuff going behind it, hear about the bad stuff and the relationships and the poverty. But a DAO on itself, only gives grants was not enough. They are into issues where people would collaborate with a grant from, let's say, 1ETH, but they were unable to cash that out to the local currency, the guild extension. Reason being is that our central bank on the blockchain operates a fixed dollar pack between our local currency and always is the effect is as a fixed effect relatively to the dollar. Because of this, all our transactions need to pass through the States, and the American banks don't want small Caribbean banks to do cash out. So it's impossible for people to cash out their Ethereum or whatever currency on the island. So we started working on an alternative called Pyridai, where we recreated the normal currencies using the DAI currency. So relatively to the dollar, we made a contract that packs one DAI, and with every DAI pack you can create 175 Pyridai, which is the same unit of account as the local currency to cash out their Ethereum or whatever. We've been developing this project over the past couple of months. We're now reaching out to Maker to see if we can get a more formal collaboration using further advance this project together with Pyridai. Once you start, it's like almost like one DAO file, and once you start having different components and different organizations growing, and you connect them together, where you can see even bigger impact. So another project that we have recently was, and it really shows how you can rebuild relation to Maker with a DAO. This proposal was submitted and passed. So Pyridai Food Forest, where a small farmer reached out to us, he needed funds to work his land and order seeds. So he received a grant of 1,100 Pyridai, and we organized the people that would help him dig the essentials that he needed. And in return, he's willing to donate 20% of his net outcome to Pyridai. And we're in touch with a local supermarket who is willing to purchase these raw fruits and vegetables from him and order seeds and pay seeds. So he already has a Bitcoin account with running miners, and he's willing to purchase our essentials. Like, this is real yield farming. And in return, he's willing to our yield from us and pay in crypto, which would allow us to create the first circular economy transaction in Pyridai. I think at this point it is becoming even more interesting because we have to start thinking about scaling because it's sustainable. A couple of learnings from running this project for 12 months, and his main takeaway is that it works. People are generally interested, even officials, high-level people, they see the benefit of having a transparent, decentralized organization. They all understand that the power and influence on the island has reached a point where it's just destroying the entire island, and you're interested in alternatives. People and culture over tech. Initially, we focused a lot on the technology. We would go in and tell them, hey, we have this DAO, and officials out and not people, they see the benefit of having, shifting our intention more to the organization side, to the culture side, talking about opportunities, talking about possibilities, talking about the benefits that this organization can have for you as an individual. That's really, and people and culture that highlights also why communication is key. Focused a lot on the technology. Even for us as crypto natives, a lot of things officially hard to grasp. I would say in general, DeFi, we're talking about just going along our general values these days, understand the basics. Even for us, it's something really hard. To bring this to people, you can work it's best to communicate it in a way where it's simple down as much as possible. Even for us, even mentioning crypto could already scare them. Using things like a community currency, a digital organization, these kind of concepts are much easier to grasp for regular individuals. Finally, standardizing really improves your efficiency as an organization, and also make sure that you don't get communicated in a way where it comes up in helping people onboard and all. Even for us, even mentioning crypto, we need to move forward. There's a lot of barriers still holding us back. Like I mentioned, the complexity of DAOs, digital organizations, kind of concepts are much. It's really good to see people from the metagame here from source spread. I mean, in order to make these things accessible for everybody, basically, and turn it into a game, or maybe even simpler. It should be like a Pokemon game or something where you start discovering it, and along the way you get better. We need to make it impossible for people to jump right into it. Like I mentioned, the complexity of that and the technical limitations of organizations. Gas fees are insane nowadays. Want people to actively govern, they need to be able to vote. Dump them for $5, which is some people maybe not simply for a whole day. Should be like just in order to vote, some start already passing it, and a long will not govern. Education and culture, yes, again, right into it. People always use this mindset of trusting others, of collaboration, of openness. Fees are insane. We need to find guides and methods to actually guide people along this mindset of working together and finding there's no legal framework or crypto on-ramp. So that's why we need to engage more with the local stakeholders. And like the previous presentation, again, the presenter, she mentioned that more DAOs are now looking to collaborate with decentralized institutions. Same case here, we cannot, this will not work on a larger scale if you cannot move out of the crypto on-ramp. It will not work if people feel afraid to hold crypto. And it will not work if the government creates taking a completely different strategy. This is also not the way we would want to be. We're not more down. In some way, anarchists, of course, we're doing something different, but we shouldn't become competitors. We cannot. This unsupervised system at this point, especially, will outcompete us and the crypto. Either lock us up or lock the people that use this technology up, and that would be the worst outcome if the government creates. So a small visualization of what we hope to create next time. Staring a pure DAO into a pure DAO ecosystem. We want to have the pure DAO in the middle, and different organizations that are related to pure DAO and that might be funded by pure DAO on the edges, and they have their own focus, preferably focusing on sustainable development goals or something in that direction, so we can actually be the worst outcome. If the government so into the traditional impact space, we don't need to reinvent the wheel for everything. We're already doing different organizations and different currencies and whatsoever. We don't need to make our own rules. We can follow along with what is already established. And that might be so. Creating these different clusters also allows people to get more of a group feeling, where they feel safe. They might not understand blockchain, but you definitely understand sustainability. For example, if you're a fisher and you just do the tradition, stay within that cluster and you would be able to do work and have an impact there. Doing different organizations and different currencies and whatsoever. You don't need to make up rules. To close this off, I think I would love to go into a discussion if anybody's up for it. Discover what other people are doing, how they're onboarding their grandmas and friends and moms and so. But before I want to give a couple of tips for other people who want to bring in real life DAOs. The main tip is connecting the DAO with stuff people care about. Finding their passions first and finding the reasons why. I think there's love to go into this brief teaching for it. And it might take some time for the other people are doing how DAO works. You might not want to launch your DAO right away. So, for example, before I went through this whole journey around early 2018, and it took about a year of nurturing the local ecosystem before we felt that we were able to articulate well what we wanted to do, and they were able to understand and contribute to what we were able to do. Next up, providing the smoothest landing possible. If the UI is horrible, then you need to as a person needs to provide, for example, that's a lack of understanding there. You need to create notification to help people. You need to create places for people to go to ask questions, to make sure that at no point they feel lost. The moment they feel lost, they disappear. And the final part is to get out. The learning experience, no one has done this before, and only now there are more and more people coming along, and it's great to see there are more questions than answers at this point, and the only way to learn is to create and along the way figure out how to ask questions, to make sure that together if we're all in this, we can share our learnings, and together we can make DAOs work. And I strongly believe that organizing true DAOs will give us the freedom to prosper and the freedom to enable others to prosper as well. So before ending, I want to give a quick thank you to everybody who has supported us and is going either the Curadai grant or the Curadai grant together for all of us a lot, especially during COVID-19, having these extra DAOs, couple $100,000, really made the difference between not being able to do anything and being able to fund these farms and these projects, enable others to thank you. I hope you are able to follow me. If you want to get in touch with me, you can contact me at LukeDAO on Twitter or CuraDAO, and you can also donate if you feel like you want to have an impact on the island. You can donate to CuraDAO.19, having these extra couple $100,000 really made the difference between not being able to do anything and being able to fund these farms and these projects, enable others to I hope
Thank you very much, Luke.
You can contact me at LukeDAO on Twitter or CuraDAO, and you can also ask questions if you feel like you want to have an impact. Do you think we should already cross the chasm at this point? We could already make sense to bring this to quote-unquote everything and being able to fund these
I think we only because it can. I didn't question very much.
Do you think we can already across the chat? Anybody else already make sense to bring this to everything and being able to fund these
I think we can only because the question.
Mata, where are you? The one. Are you around? I can't hear.
I think I can hear both of you.
Do you think we can already across the chat? Anybody else for some reason unable to?
Maybe try refreshing.
Mata, where are you?
App or
the one. Are you around? Let me try refreshing. I can't hear.
I think I can hear both of you.
Do you think we can already across the chat? Anybody else for some reason unable to?
Maybe try refreshing.
Mata, where are you?
App or
the one. Are you around?
Cool.
Let me
So,
try refreshing.
what was the question that was being asked? Or did he go? I think I can hear both of you.
Yeah, but you're not hearing the other person?
I think there are two questions. So the first question, which I'm asking myself a lot, should we even try to cross the chasm, the chasm at this point? Should we even try to bring DAO technology to people that might not even use a phone or computer on a daily basis?
I think it depends. I mean, if
there
you're
are two
doing
questions.
something
So the
that
first question, which I'm asking myself a lot, should we even try to cross
just trying to cross
the chasm at this point?
I don't think it's
Should we even try to bring DAO technology to people that might not even use a phone or computer on a daily basis? I definitely agree, and I think something that again to also mention is kind of giving up some of the decentralization aspects in order to allow more people to grasp the technology. Something we're really looking into now is moving our DAO onto XDAI instead of running it on mainnet, and then using a very simpler browser, maybe doing everything on a Trust wallet on the phone and just doing it that way, or forking or giving them some trying to do it that way. Centralization aspect, which in order to we have a real problem. The technology, the developing technology is too high onto 80% or 90% of running it on mainnet, and then using a very simpler browser.
Yeah, you should totally check with the
Trust wallet on the phone and just
team. They're
that way, or
working and the way they complete a few Arizona DAOs.
We have a real problem. The technology,
they could probably help you figure out what's up with that, and maybe even deploy some DAO stack stuff over there too. I don't know what the DAO stack deployment process is. Yeah, you should totally check with the chain.
Another thing we're looking into is forking or evolving Kurodai into a complementary currency, similar to what Will Ruddick is doing in Kenya, because of the financial crisis that we're having now. Having every build or every Kurodai backed by $0.57 or DAI, so it's really not efficient in order for donations or money to flow. And forking, we could leverage this to every evolving Kurodai is complemented by only 0.25%. 0.25 in Kenya DAI, because our number of financial crisis that we're able to have having a much larger impact. And on the one hand, I mean, it's 0.57. Having a full pack has its values, but in the current situation, we might have to keep on some of our core principles of hard value and really going back to the trust as the economic as the economic middle financial crisis.
Hey Luke, this is Liz. Yeah, super, just to echo what everyone else is saying, super super inspiring presentation. So I'm curious to hear your view in terms of how you see the DAO's role, DAO's role, relative to like an existing parallel today. Like, do you see DAO as being kind of equivalent to the role of an NGO or something else? Hey Luke, this is Liz. Yeah, super, just echo everyone else saying, super inspiring presentation. So I'm curious to hear your view in terms of how you see the DAO shifting more and more relative to like an existing
becoming
parallel today. Like, do you see DAO as being
it's almost like the role that the government and the central bank have, but then on a smaller scale. Just because the NGO role has a lot of limitations. I think don't want to be involved in every transaction, but if you facilitate a lot of transactions, and I think you find a way for all these transactions to have a positive impact, that's good way to scale up the potential of the DAO. It's almost like the voting and the central bank have pure DAO scale. Just because the NGO
cool, that makes a lot of sense. And yeah, Curacao is a beautiful country, and we wish you guys
a lot of transactions, and I think you find a way for all these transactions to have a positive impact, that's good way to scale up the potential of the DAO. It's almost like the voting and the central bank have pure DAO scale. Just because the NGO
cool, that makes a lot of sense. And yeah, Curacao is
really welcome. I enjoyed your presentation. It was a thing that I had to join late, but I'll definitely review this after today. Maybe one final thing that I would love to get some impact on, so feedback on from people. I would like to be honest that we've never discovered or even went into the legal side of DAOs. For us, it was never something that we thought would be a legal organization, but our mind has changed a lot over the past months. Also, looking for centralized growth funding and open up a lot of opportunities for us. We currently are not able to work full time on the project because we still need to pay the bills, and we haven't qualified yet for any of the Web3 grants. Let's say for us, was never something that our everybody's views here on registering a DAO as a legal DAO. Kind of as if anybody has experience with centralized growth and funds, open up a lot of opportunities for us. We currently are not able to work full time on the project because we still need to pay the bills, and we haven't qualified yet for any of the Web3 grants. Let's say
yeah, there's some out-of-the-box templates you can deploy pretty quickly in Delaware, so you can
as a legal DAO, if anybody has
or you might have something. No, you should probably talk to the left DAO because they do this all day long.
Yeah.
So they're a DAO. They have legal engineers. It depends. DAO's legal framework and compass. And yeah, they would be the best people to talk to about this because they can do this all day long. And also, too, if you want cooperative, Crypto Comments for setting up a DAO cooperative for situation. But for your situation now, they do this all day long.
Yeah.
So they're a DAO. They have legal engineers.
I think the second one, what you mentioned last, speaks more to what we have, because it's more like a commons. It's not a organization, and it's also relatively hard to determine the boundaries of where Curacao starts and where it ends. So we're actually looking into registering a completely custom solution on the island of Curacao itself. Because of our rich history and offshore, we have a very flexible legal system. It's more like a commons. It's just not the organization. It's just all the work that comes to and determine having to decide what you prioritize for. Are we going to focus on the legal aspects, but I mean, maybe an out-of-the-box solution is just the way to go early on, and then as things progress, we could move to a local organization, very flexible legal system.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know how stuff works on the island, but yeah, if you just want like a simple wrapper,
and determine you can decide what you prioritize for. Are we going to focus on the legal aspects, but I mean, maybe an out-of-the-box solution is just the way to go early on, and then as
and then the trick there too is like if you want
a local organization
agreement, which says the entity structure is. Yeah, I mean, I don't know how stuff works on the island. DAO, and then yeah, if you force it mirrors that would have file. So that's like a nice thing. Again, we talked to the last DAO crew about how to set this up, especially on block. Yeah, and then the trick there too is like the rest of them can support this agreement. So yeah, it says the entity structure is blockchain on the island.
Yeah, I think that was it for me today. I'm exhausted, to be honest. I'm gonna fly tomorrow, but I'm really happy to have been able to get the chance to do this. So thanks everybody, especially Pete and the people behind us. Thank you. If anybody wants to chat with me, you can always reach me on Twitter or Telegram or so. I'm kind of a Discord noob, but you can reach out to me here if you want. And yeah, I think that was it for me today. I'm exhausted, to be honest. I'm gonna fly tomorrow, but I'm really happy to have been able to get the chance to do this.
Cool, and just drop a bunch of replays for all the things.
People behind us. Thank you. If anybody wants to chat with me, you can always reach me on Twitter or Telegram or so. I'm kind of a Discord noob, but you can reach out to me here if you want. And yeah, I think that was it for me today. I'm exhausted, to be honest. I'm gonna fly tomorrow, but I'm really happy to have been able to get the chance to do this.
Cool, and just drop a bunch of replays for all the things.
People behind us. Thank you. If anybody wants to chat with me, you can always reach me on Twitter or Telegram. So I'm kind of a Discord noob, but you can reach out to me here if you want.
Another project for the DAO hacking FT Connect project.
Cool, and just drop a bunch of replays for all the things.
We're trying to create an onboarding process for existing FT groups to create DAOs easily. I'm actually working on another project for the DAO hacking. Yeah, so we're just trying to see how we can connect FT group members with member tokens on DAOs. We're trying to create an onboarding process for existing FT groups to create DAOs easily. I'm actually working on going good. We are stuck, so we're trying to how we can connect, find out FT group members who belongs to which group on FP and translate that create an onboarding process for DAO purposes to create DAO. Everything else going good.
We also got the following social graph of DAO memberships.
How we can connect, find out FP group members who belongs to which group on FP and translate that social graph coding, create an onboarding process for
I like mapping the people that are members of the DAOs and connecting them to DAOs. We also got the following social graph of DAO memberships.
How we can connect, find out who belongs to which group on FP and translate that social graph coding, create an onboarding process for
I like mapping the people that are members of the DAOs and connecting them to maybe DAOs. Maybe he doesn't know his following social graph of DAO memberships.
Well, I think he's working on the Watchdog DAO. Yeah, Watchdog DAO. So it's like a DAO that allows people to curate information about a topic. Potentially, like if you're going to be watching some sort of like, some topic you care about, or there's like some government agency that got funded, you want to watch them to make sure things are run as expected. Well, I don't know what. Lots of things curate information and store it on IPFS. So it's like a DAO that allows people to curate information about a topic.
So they've been working for the
potentially like if you're going to be watching some sort of like, yeah, they started in the first half, and they're also working on it. You want to watch them make a file format as hackathon. I don't know. So like here for the outside, the file storage, store it on IPFS. So it's like a DAO that allows. But I think it links to Twitter as well, so you can interact with it via Twitter and DAO contacts. Potentially like if you're going to be watching some sort of like, yeah, they started in the first first half, and they're also working on budget. Watching file points as hackathon. I don't know. So like here from the outside, curating file storage.
Because anything,
I think it links to Twitter as well. Yeah, they started. Yeah, no, this was fun. Yeah, tons of people here, tons of really cool projects being worked on. Lots of DAO hacking. Yeah, this is great. Thank you so much for putting this together.
because anything, what should we do? And I'm really looking forward to the next week's hackathon. Everything right. Let's build some cool shit.
Yeah, this was fun. Yeah, tons of people here, tons of really cool projects being worked on. Lots of DAO hacking. Yeah, this is great. Thank you so much for putting this together. Thanks everyone. Oh, also too, if you guys are not subscribed to the calendar, you can subscribe to the calendar through the announcement channel. Then you'll have all the events on your calendar. And tomorrow we're doing skin. A bit earlier. Okay. Yeah.
Or an hour later.
We'll be here tomorrow. Drop in. Also say hi. If you guys are not subscribed to the calendar, you can subscribe to the calendar through the announcement channel. Then you'll have all the events on your calendar. And tomorrow we're doing skin. A bit earlier. Okay. Yeah.
Or an hour later.
We'll be here tomorrow. Drop in. Also say hi.